Welcome to parts 3 and 4 of the training program for the UW registration team. Part 3 is on voter ID and proof of enrollment. Before we go into voter ID, let's pause for a moment and mention that there are significant differences between the requirements for proof of residence to register and the requirements for voter ID. Some differences are what documents are acceptable, when they are needed, what must be on the documents, and expiration dates. Keep in mind that proving residency and showing ID are two separate processes. After a student is registered, inform them about the voter ID law so they can be prepared. On election day, voters will need an acceptable ID to get a ballot. As someone helping with registration, you are not inspecting voter IDs. You are simply advising the registrant on the need for ID on election day. If they use their Wisconsin driver license number or Wisconsin DOT-issued ID number on the registration form, tell them to bring that ID on election day to get a ballot. Tell them they can check My Vote in about a week to check their registration. They are good to go. What if they don't have a Wisconsin driver license? An out-of-state driver license is not acceptable. Every student has a standard WIS card, but this is not acceptable as voter ID. For instance, it has no signature. Acceptable for anyone, including students, are a Wisconsin driver license or a DOT-issued ID, passport, tribal ID, military or veterans ID, or naturalization papers. For voter ID, the address on the ID does not matter. A special student voter ID is available. Just bring your WIS card to the Union South WIS card office during their regular hours, and it's free. On election day, there may be more locations to get this voter ID. It meets all the specifications in the voter ID law, including a signature. By court order, it can be expired, but it must still meet all the specifications. When a student ID that meets the specifications is used for voting, proof of enrollment, POE, must also be shown. POE can be presented either electronically or on paper. UW students can use go.wisc.edu/verify for a document from the registrar certifying enrollment status. The address does not matter for POE. There are many alternatives for POE, so no worries. Class schedule, tuition fee receipt, certified campus housing list, or an ASM bus pass for the current semester. When requesting an absentee ballot in Wisconsin, an acceptable ID must be included with the request. If the ID being used is the special student ID, then proof of enrollment must also be included with the request. Let's review the key concepts and differences for POE and POR. For POR, for registration, Student Center can be used. The address must match the address on the registration form. On election day, if the special student ID is used as voter ID, proof of enrollment must be shown. The address does not matter. go.wisc.edu/verify is available to all students. And by the way, this could also be used as proof of residence to register if the address shown is the voting address. It gets the address from the mailing address in Student Center that we saw earlier. To complete our review, POR is required when registering on a paper form. Advise the voter about voter ID and proof of enrollment, but they are not required to register. Let's move on to Part 4, the Big Ten Voting Challenge. There is going to be a trophy for the highest percent turnout among the 14 Big Ten universities, and for the highest percent increase based on the November 6th election and compared to the 2014 data. The data reports are from NSolve, part of Tufts University. UW has an advisory committee chaired by Professor Barry Burden. More info is available at tinyurl.com/btvoting. For the Big Ten Voting Challenge, it does not matter where you vote as long as you vote somewhere. In 2014, the UW-Madison turnout was 36%. Almost 2 out of every 3 students did not vote. In the presidential election, 2016, the turnout was 48%. The NSolve National Report on Voting Rates in 2016 stated that compared to the rest of the country, quote, institutions in Georgia, Wisconsin, and Mississippi had the largest decreases on average, unquote. Chancellor Rebecca Blank has written, quote, one of our missions as an American educational institution is to prepare and encourage everyone who passes through the university to be an active, engaged citizen. Voting is one important aspect of this. It is essential to our democratic form of government and a responsibility that comes with citizenship. Unquote. Here are 2 key websites worth memorizing. Vote.wisc.edu is a UW site with lots of information on registration, voter ID, and voting absentee. myvote.wi.gov is run by the Wisconsin Elections Commission and has many valuable features. Thanks for watching, and thanks for being part of the UW voter registration team.